The 90s was the last of the great decades.
Hello everyone. This video is about a time when pop culture was shared communally. Eastenders may now be seen as a stale imitation of its former self, but there was once a time when it was the cornerstone of the British public's evening entertainment fixture. In a pre-internet world, of course. When Eastenders started in 1985, it was actually plausible to have a TV series set in the East End of its time, with a multicultural cast and the English working class being the biggest ethnic group. Back then it was plausible, sure.
Oh, well, that's alright then, isn't it?
Albert Square looked more grimy and run down and less like a Truman Show-esque studio up in L Street. And by the time the 90s came around, Albert Square was as much a part of my generation's lives as, say, Ramsey Street Outer Neighbours or Grange Hill. Whereas now, look at some of the home counties sounding characters you've gotten in the past 20 years.
Because I'm deserving of it. No, this I can't be out.
No, it's true.
And it doesn't matter that Mint knows, or that anyone knows.
Versus, for example, Frank Butcher.
You hit my car. Yeah, well, you didn't indicate, did you? You didn't give me a chance to indicate. You come round that corner like Nigel Mansell.
I mean, if you want to talk vintage Frank Butcher, I can remember the one where his daughter Diane was missing, and then he found her living in Paris with a bunch of French blokes. He was shouting at them, calling them arrogant, frogs, krauts. He even went as far as to call them foreigners in their own country.
Frog, kraut, foreigners are all the same.
Not only was watching EastEnders on Thursdays at 7:30 memorable, I can remember before that there would be Top of the Pops at 7, era-defining TV show in terms of British music consumption. Phenomenal time. Unbelievable. We'd watch anyone from Michael Jackson to Shakespeare's Sister to 2 Unlimited, Wigfield, then go to school the next day and talk about it amongst ourselves in class. And talking about EastEnders, one Sam Mitchell, Grant and Phil Mitchell's sister, was dating in real life a real EastEnder, E17's Brian Harvey. In terms of early to mid-90s London culture, when a bunch of East London lads burst on the scene in 92, seeing them on Top of the Pops before EastEnders added to the London relatability of the time. I don't care who says what, Tony Mortimer was a good music writer and Brian Harvey was a talented singer. Signature baggy jeans, Brian Harvey in his signature hats, proper distinctive. The 90s produced bare music. What have we got now? Dappy. A chav of chavs from Camden, who thinks talking like an idiot makes him look like some misunderstood genius.
Baby, it's the way how no one can't do it like London, baby.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Of course.
To the point where these men now over there trying to do the stony, trying to do no.
Get real. You see how he tries talking without completing his sentences and acting all fidgety and jittery, as if he's autistic or got arrested development.
At least 25
times. Yeah.
He just does that because he thinks it makes him look cool and come off as talented. Whereas Brian Harvey might have dressed a certain way, but he was a pop star through and through, with a group of professionally assembled pop stars. Not a Channel U era stroke social media era, fake R&B, fake grime, we is that truth, we is that voice of that streets millennials. Now I'm gonna get back to EastEnders.
You two can live with yourselves.
But I want to just briefly have a little bit more fun with my end-up friends. Real quick. Brian Harvey was vilified for saying taking ecstasy is marvellous, and consequently the band split up. But he was what he was, a geezer from East London.
It's upside down, man, you know what I mean? Jesus lost it, man.
Nothing more, nothing less.
You know what I mean? So weird.
End-ups and Dappy on the other hand, good lord. You see Dappy acting so firm and old school, saying,
If a woman sleeps with 5 men, it makes her what we all know it makes her.
she's a full stop and that's that. Yet his first song, I Swear, has the infamous lines,
Baby, if you gave me all the love I needed, then this wouldn't have happened.
baby, if you had have given me all the love that I needed, then this wouldn't have happened. Right, in other words, the blatant, typical justification of infidelity from the modern day millennial female. I shagged TJ and Ziggy Gorgeous behind your back, and it's your fault because you didn't perform acrobatics to deliver me Cadbury's milk tray. Didn't you know a lady loves milk tray, you insensitive pig, you?
And all because the lady loves Cadbury's milk tray.
I don't care if it's the chick that said it. If you're this old school bad boy gangster who puts women in their place when it pertains to promiscuity,
You won't ever tell your daughter how many men you slept with in one night.
why are you putting that female no accountability in your song? And that girl, That bloody chick.
So much fun. Oh, of course it's GAY.
Not even near 40 and already on the facial enhancement. Stop trying to look like the bird out of the Cadbury's Flake advert. An MC laser gun? No comment. Getting back to EastEnders. First of all, if you're on an old school tip and you don't remember Pete Beale,
I nearly bought one of these myself.
then this might not even resonate with you. Pete Beale is an original 85 character.
What about?
I mention him because the Cockney bloke selling fruit and veg on a market stall is a true vestige of real London life.
Hey you alright?
Basically, if you came to London after 95, then you're not a real Londoner. And you might not remember that aspect of true London life.
All I ever got for Christmas was a couple of swabbits and a dinky toy when I was Martin's age.
Proper EastEnders character. And killed off prematurely because the actor said off screen, the BBC are not amazing.
You alright, mate? Yeah, sweet as an apple. King Cross. Yeah.
On a more 90s tip,
I hope you two can live with yourselves.
Tiffany, Bianca and Ricky Butcher are proper 90s EastEnders characters.
I've only got one pair. Here, I've only got one pair of them. Oh, Ricky, we should do something like that.
Yeah, sounds lovely.
Not originals like the Beales and Fowlers, but still part of the 90s television milieu that defined our lives. Like at the time, Bianca was the mouthy gingerbird.
Get lost, my aim.
I hope you two can live with yourselves.
And Tiffany was the sexy one.
So what's he like in bed?
Allegedly. In hindsight, looking back, I'd pick a 95 Bianca who was young and slim over big shoulder ass Tiffany. That's right, the sexy one with dark hair wasn't sexy or voluptuous, oh no, that's a large human. Started looking more like Earthquake out of WWF wrestling than Sophia Loren. Every week in the mid-90s we could see Sam, Grant, Phil, Ricky, Bianca or Tiffany arguing and ranting and raving about anything or everything. Mi mujer es contable.
Oh yes mate, mi mujer es contables. Well come on, edit me!
Listen here, Freckleface.
Yeah, I like my freckles. How do you like being a failure?
Bianca, that's enough.
Don't you dare!
Well, that's what I want, I deserve it.
Yeah, there's some bars in the yard. Can you bring them in, please? I thought I'd leave that to you. You've got the muscles for it.
I hope you two can live with yourselves.
Yeah. Mi mujer es contable.
And lastly, back to my point about music carrying culture, the legendary jungle MC Shabadi even had an EastEnders lyric back in the late 90s.